This first topic is so hot off the presses that I think it's still warm, honestly. Like I can feel the heat coming off the Google Doc here. So, literally just this morning, HubSpot co founder and CTO Dharmesh Shah released something called ChatSpot, which is an AI tool that combines the power of ChatGPT, image generation AI, and HubSpot's CRM and CMS platform. So this tool lets you actually ask questions of your HubSpot portal and provide instructions in natural language through a chat interface. So it's almost like think Chat GPT for your specific HubSpot instance. For example, you could use ChatSpot to do things like give you a summary of data in your portal, create a report of companies that were added last quarter, summarized by country, or generate an image of an orange rocket ship. For any of our audience members who don't know, there's some really important context here. Not only is HubSpot a leading marketing platform, but Paul actually founded and sold a marketing agency that I also used to work for. That was HubSpot's first ever agency partner. So we followed HubSpot closely, very closely since its very early days and have a lot of relationships at the company. On the heels of this announcement, HubSpot also introduced, kind of with less fanfare, a GPT powered content assistant that generates content in the platform. So we've alluded to this feature that we would have loved to have this feature for a while in HubSpot. And it looks like they have now incorporated it. So, Paul, I want to turn this over to you to just unpack your thoughts for us on this release, on ChatSpot, on HubSpot at large, and their play in AI, and what this all means for marketers.
Yeah, so as you alluded to, I have a long history with HubSpot. We started working with them back in 2007. Dharmesh wrote the forward for my second book in 2014, which is the first time I publicly talked about artificial intelligence. In that book, I theorized something called a marketing intelligence engine that would use CRM data and automation system data to build predictive models for strategy and budget allocation. And it was sort of like the reason I got into AI was this use case of an intelligence engine. I was about a decade ahead of my time, apparently, because it wasn't not only possible, but no one was working on it back then. Um, so that being said, I have had many conversations about artificial intelligence with Dharmesh in particular, and with people at HubSpot through the years. And at times, I've honestly been a little hard on HubSpot in recent years about the lack of AI in their platform. When I saw that there was a massive opportunity for them to be building it with all the proprietary data and everything, and so I think that we have to give kudos where it's due. I mean, what he showed it was like a 19-minute demo where Dharmesh kind of walks through it. One, I love that it's Dharmesh doing it. Like, I always say the companies that you want to bet on are the ones where the leadership are out with a point of view on AI. There's still so few SaaS companies where the C-suite don't even have a public point of view on AI. They're not talking about it. And here we have Dharmesh actually not only building this with his team, but he's out in front as the face of what they're doing. And obviously, Dharmesh has invested a lot of time and energy in figuring out where HubSpot might be going in this area. And so, I think it's awesome. And I had seen some of this. I had a sense of kind of like some of the stuff that Dharmesh was working on. But I hadn't seen what he showed today in terms of the full capabilities of this. So I was really excited to see it. And I love the practicality of the use cases. He showed some sales CRM use cases. He showed some marketing use cases. He showed some reporting use cases. So you can't, as a HubSpot customer or marketer, watch that and not realize the impact AI is going to have on you. I also thought it was interesting because it sort of brought home the world of bits stuff that you and I talked about on episode 35 of the Marketing AI Show. So if you listened to episode 35, we sort of put out this world of bits idea that, really where people were going was action transformers, where the AI would be able to take actions on your behalf, not just, create things, but, you know, the example we used in the post was a 21 click sequence to send an email in HubSpot. So like today, if you wanted to send an email in HubSpot, you have to click at least 21 times to do it. And Dharmesh actually referenced that kind of example within what they're building with ChatSpot, where it reduces the need for all these clicks. So it's sort of like a lot of this stuff coming together simultaneously. And I think it's really exciting, in terms of the impact it could have on customers and the impact it could have on the broader market.
So I think it's also important to layer in a little context here, given that, we both spend most of our days in HubSpot, we're very familiar with the partner ecosystem and the services agencies offer around HubSpot. I wouldn't sleep on how powerful this idea is. There is still a lot of manual work that goes into actually executing anything in HubSpot, not to mention, as anyone who struggles sometimes to get value out of their CRM knows, it's not always easy to get at all the data that we have in there. I mean, how many times over the past, 15 years have we sometimes struggled to say, hey, like, how do we pull a report on this data set? How do we get more value out of the data we're collecting on contacts? So, all of these things for people that aren't as familiar with HubSpot, these are all really transformative. So, how do you see this? What does this mean for the wider market that HubSpot is now integrating AI into its platform like this?
The To start, this sort of tees up what we're going to talk about in our second topic. But basically, I think it's going to create a lot of confusion.
Mm,
So if you have been an early adopter of AI technology and you've been adding different applications, different third-party writing tools, different intelligent automation tools, once this moves out of alpha, Dharmesh is very clear it's an alpha launch, so it's very early, but it's going to get better fast for a lot of different reasons. And so I think you immediately are like, well, do we need the other writing tools? Like, what does this replace the need to have a third party writing tool? And I actually don't know the answer to this. I'm just posing this as soon as I saw it, that was my immediate reaction was people are going to be very confused. And we're already dealing with an undereducated industry at large.
mm,
So generally speaking, people are buying AI technology that they don't understand. They're finding some basic use cases that they do understand. So, okay, it can help me write blog posts, it can help me do social media shares, it can help me write ads or whatever it is. So they understand the use case, but they don't understand the underlying technology. So they certainly can't step back and understand, do I need this in HubSpot and these other third party tools, or is this just it? Because they might not even understand language models and how the APIs work and all this different stuff. So I think that there is going to be some confusion. There's going to be a greater need for education. On the positive side, I think HubSpot jumping in to AI in a bigger way helps accelerate that, the understanding and adoption. Because now that it's baked in, and again, it wasn't like HubSpot didn't have some AI tools, but realistically, and again, this I was referring to, I've been a little hard on them at times. Their artificial intelligence features were the same a week ago as they were 2, 3 years ago. Like they have
mhm.
not innovated at a rapid pace. And so a lot of there was like 10 different features and there was interesting stuff, but there wasn't anything groundbreaking by any means within what they were doing. And they knew that. And I think they would be the first to probably admit that they, maybe weren't innovating at a very rapid pace on the AI front. I think that's about to change. And so by infusing it in, I mean, let's think about the context here. If you're not familiar with HubSpot, it's as of this morning, a $20.2 billion market cap company. Their total revenue in 2022 was 1.7 billion, up 33% versus 2021 in a down economy. And they grew their customer base to 167,000 customers by the end of 2022, which was up 24% over 2021. So, I mean, this is a very important company in the overall marketing, sales, CRM ecosystem. And for them to go all in again with a co-founder, CTO, Dharmesh doing this and leading the charge, I think that's going to wake a lot of people up to that AI matters and it matters right now. And they better make some moves to figure it out.
Yeah, so maybe talk to us about that a little more on a practical level now that these AI powered capabilities are part of the platform, and presumably we'll see more of them coming down the line as well. What effect will this have on the work that marketers are doing in HubSpot?
Once you understand what it's capable of, and again, just go watch the demo video. If you run sales or involved in sales enablement, or if you're a marketer and you create content or you run reports, whatever, you can go yourself and look at the use cases and think what's going to be possible. Now, again, may not realize like massive productivity increases and efficiency right away because again, it's an alpha solution, but you can connect the dots and realize, wow, this is going to make a major impact. So I think productivity for HubSpot customers will almost immediately rise once you have access to the tools. And it's just going to keep going up. And I'm not sure that there's a cap on that. So if you, again, like take a practical example of drafting emails or writing blog posts or pulling reports on number of new contacts added last month and how many were in the SaaS industry and all these things that you do all the time. And you can just do that through not only typing it, but he has a voice function in there. So I
Mm,
can just say, how many contacts did we have last month? How much was it over the month prior? How many of them are in the SaaS industry? How many are companies that are 100 million or more in revenue? Like I can just ask these things that historically you all get from Zoom messages from me. Can someone please go into HubSpot and pull for me X, Y, or Z? Now, in theory, I'm going to be able to just pull my HubSpot app while I'm sitting at home and say, hey, how many contacts have we added this month? Like
mm,
whatever pops in my head. And so the productivity is going to be massive. Now, that said, it's going to be very disruptive. So one, you have to have people who understand this technology and the capabilities. You have to upskill your team to even know what to do with this technology. But at a bigger level, it starts to lead into the ecosystem. So HubSpot is built through a massive ecosystem. And again, you mentioned up front, we were the first HubSpot partner back in 2007. So we were the origin of the partner program that today, last I had heard publicly, again, this is an inside knowledge, like 45% of HubSpot's revenue came through their
mm,
partner ecosystem. And that includes service providers like marketing agencies and technical providers who build on top of the HubSpot APIs within, the solutions marketplace. So it's a massive part of their business. If I'm an agency right now that gets paid to create content and pull reports and do the things he shows in there, I am I am really starting to wonder what is the future of our service model with HubSpot? Like
mm,
what is ChatSpot not going to be able to do? Is probably the question I'm asking myself right now. Because you have to start moving your service model to where they're not going to be able to just ask a question and get the thing they used to pay you $1,000 for. And that's where it's going. Now, ChatSpot may not be there, and that's not the intention of what they're trying to do. I mean, knowing HubSpot, they are not trying to obsolete their own service network, but it's a potential byproduct of it, at least in parts. So I think that, and then I think from a technological standpoint, if I'm a developer and I'm building tools into HubSpot, I am starting to wonder what won't HubSpot be able to do on its own with ChatSpot. So I'll give you an example. I'll throw this out there now because it's an obsolete idea.
mm,
One of the products I had considered building, so we've played around at different times with building some AI technology, was a CRM writer. I was thinking about building an AI writing tool that had access to CRM and could write anything you want based on the CRM data. You see Microsoft doing this with Viva. They've made a play into this space. And I've thought for a while that HubSpot needed that. And so I was like, maybe we'll build that. Maybe we build like a cool little app that can write based on CRM data. It's done. Like if I had built that product, it would be obsoleted right now, and I would be emailing my investor saying, "Hey, sorry,
mm.
Dharmesh just built this into ChatSpot. Like we're done. Thanks for the million we just burned." So I do think there is a very, and again, this leads into our second topic very well. There is a massive amount of uncertainty right now around what should be built and uh, and what the moats are to defend what you build. And I think this is a perfect example that there's a number of tools that I've thought about building on top of HubSpot the last couple of years that I could now see having been obsoleted by this one alpha play. And as Dharmesh shows, he shows his little grid of like, this is just the very beginning, and it was a much bigger idea. And knowing Dharmesh and having spent a lot of time with him through the years, personally and professionally, um, Dharmesh is an insanely smart person and a very big thinker who can actually build the stuff he envisions. I would not bet against Dharmesh. Like, as someone who has invested heavily in HubSpot through the years, I am very happy to know that Dharmesh is very focused on AI in HubSpot. I think it will bode very well for the platform and the stock moving forward.